joining us now.
Not at all.
That friend would be Howie Carr, who always has something to say about what's going on in terms of timing of vacations and various and other topics of great controversy. The Boston Herald columnist and the WRKO talk show host, Skyping in now from Boston. Howie, welcome back to America's Forum.
Thank you, JD. You didn't think he was going to postpone his vacation, did you? He's been there every year that he's been president, except for 2012, when, of course, he was running for re-election. He loves Martha's Vineyard. It's where the beautiful people go.
Yeah, what is the deal? I mean, it was the same thing for the Clintons, right? The summer and Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah.
Is it just inherently more liberals per square inch than any other place in the country? Why always the Vineyard?
I think that probably has something to do with it, the more liberals per square inch. JD, it's also the place where Ted Kennedy's presidential ambitions came to an end, as you well know. Chappaquiddick is at the very tip of the island, and that's where he had his fatal car accident with Mary Jo Kopechne. So it's long been a playground of the rich and famous. And the island next to it is Nantucket, and that's also a well-known playground of the rich and famous. And that's the place where John Kerry's second wife's first husband's trust fund has a $9 million mansion that he likes to spend a lot of time in. So if he wants to talk to the Secretary of State, all he has to do is get in the Secret Service dinghy and row over.
Well, Howie, you refer to it in your column as kind of the, quote, the ultimate gated community. What do you mean by that?
It's an island, Miranda. It's 4 miles out. You can't get there. There aren't any dreamers on Martha's Vineyard. Let me put it that way. And there aren't any on Nantucket either. And it's a place where these guys can actually go and not have to worry about what I called in the column the foul breath of the plebeians. I mean, they fly in, all these people that are so concerned about their carbon footprint. They all have private airplanes. They fly in on their private jets to Martha's Vineyard. Last year he was playing golf with Larry David, James Taylor, Carly Simon lived there. It's where you go to be rich and famous. Interestingly enough, though, JD, there may be a little bit of sparks flying on Wednesday. Wednesday is going to be the one worst day of the week. Going to be a lot of rain up here, and that's also the day that Hillary Clinton is coming onto the island to the bookstore, the well-known bookstore that Obama likes to go to, called Bunch of Grapes. And she's going to be doing a book signing just a few days after she is now ripped into Obama's handling of Mideast policy, Syria in particular.
So Howie, is it going to be a situation like we saw at the Costco down in Washington or across the river, where Madam Justice Sotomayor just happened to be there when Hillary Clinton was signing the book? Or do you expect the president to stay well away from that bookstore on Wednesday?
I'm gonna guess, JD, he's gonna be giving it a good leaving alone at the bookstore. Even if he wasn't planning to, I think after reading that interview with the guy from the Atlantic, Jeffrey Goldberg, he's not gonna go anywhere near the place. Can you imagine though how tied up Vineyard Haven is gonna be? That's where the bookstore is. If you had the President of the United States and you had a former First Lady, those Secret Service details bumping up against one another.
Howie, we also want to talk about Scott Brown's Senate race in New Hampshire. Critics point out a series of gaffes by Brown, the latest on the op-ed where he criticizes Obama for the border problem, and then he offers in-state tuition to illegals about his past record, saying, when he was in Massachusetts, he voted for in-state tuition. Now he's saying he's against that. He's been running into a lot of problems here. What's your take on this?
Yeah, I think his campaign has been plagued by a lot of problems, Miranda. She's as I think I said last week to you, this is her, I think, sixth statewide campaign in New Hampshire. She is not an inexperienced campaigner. She knows how to get the dirt out, and she's also been tying the fact that Kelly Ayotte, who is a popular Republican senator, former attorney general in New Hampshire, she's been campaigning with Scott Brown. She and Shaheen have voted the same way on some of the issues that such as immigration reform, that Scott is now really trying to take a bite out of Shaheen's hide on.
What about the
So
Affordable Care Act, though? He's also been criticized for that, saying he wants to repeal it, and then saying, but he'd like to grandfather some people in. Are we sending mixed messages here?
No, I don't think he has too much of a problem on the Affordable Care Act. They have quotes of her on her website. She said the same things that Obama did. You know, if you like your health care plan, you can keep it. If you like your doctor, you know, et cetera, et cetera. They have all that stuff. He never went that far. He was for he voted for Romney Care in Massachusetts when he was in the legislature down here. That's true. But the Romney Care plan was never as much of a disaster as this Obamacare is turning out to be. Especially in New Hampshire, over half the hospitals in the state are not allowed to take Obamacare patients. It's just it's a terrible disaster for the state.
Well, speaking of Massachusetts folks moving to New Hampshire, of course, Mitt Romney has a summer home across the state line in New Hampshire. Amidst great fanfare, he endorsed Scott Brown again across the state line in New Hampshire. For all the talk about Romney and his renewed political viability, is that endorsement helping at this point in the Brown campaign?
I think it will help long term. I think we talked about this last week, JD. The polls have shown in New Hampshire that if you put Romney in the mix with the other presidential candidates, the ones who've said they are probably interested in running, like Paul and Cruz, people like that, you have Mitt with close to 40% of the vote. So he's extremely popular in New Hampshire, and I think that will help him out a lot to have Mitt on his side.
Well, we will see. There's still a long time to go in the campaign, and Howie, we always appreciate your insights and analysis. Thanks so much for Skyping in today from Boston.
JD, you want me to get you an autographed copy of Hillary's book down at the Bunch of Grapes on Wednesday?
Oh, I think I'll pass on that. And same thing with that signed picture of Jean Shaheen. No thanks. Hey, America's Forum continues after this timeout.